Now we're moving on to one of our favourites, Peter Markey. Again, he's one of our inaugural speakers at the first Marketing Festival. So widely respected as one of the most forward-thinking digital marketers, even though his job is not digital, across the industry, I think. So Pete is going to come on, and his title of his presentation, Let's Recapture the Lost Art of Improvisation, which is quite mysterious. Pete, you've got 99 seconds. You are one of my favourites, but I definitely will follow you off to go after 99 seconds. So if you're ready.
I'm ready to go. Okay, brilliant.
Over to you.
Thank you, Justin. And hello, everyone. It's great to be here. So the slide here to kick off with is a picture of a show that myself and 9 other marketing directors did back in March, where we raised £30,000 for comic relief and put on an improvised comedy show. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what improvised comedy is and what I've learned about recapturing the lost art of improvisation. So improvised comedy is not stand-up comedy. It's all made up on the spot. It's made up in the moment. There's no script. And you have to respond to and act with the people that you're around and the people that you are with. And I did it because I'd worked out in the role as I got more and more senior, how I'd started to almost abdicate creative responsibility more to other people and to other agencies without thinking through how I could be more spontaneous and improvise more in the moment. And I've been doing this, as I say, for 15 months, and I just want to highlight some of the key learnings from what you can learn from improvised comedy. First of all, there's a technique called yes and. So you build on someone else's idea, you don't destroy it, you build on what someone else has put forward and what they're doing. You have to trust people, so you have to learn to flow with other people's ideas, build on, riff on other people's ideas as well. And listening is really important as well, listening and collaborating. So if you're developing ideas, the most important things are to build on other people's ideas, learn to collaborate, learn to listen, and importantly, technology can play a key role. So I'm still doing improvised comedy lessons on Zoom. So I'm learning how to improvise day in, day out, and in fact, I've got a lesson tonight.
Just within 99 seconds, fantastic talk. Great to hear. I mean, the first question is from Gemma saying, tell us a joke, but let's get there in a second. We've got lots of questions coming in. So I think one of the most interesting for me is from Melissa, who asks, in a data-driven world, isn't improvisation just dead in marketing?
It's a really good question. I think for me, marketing is part art and part science. So I think you absolutely need the data, and data-driven is absolutely brilliant. But I do think you need a bit of the craft and the art behind great creative and great ideas still. And it's the fusion of those two things coming together that for me is the magic formula.
Perfect. Okay. I've got a question here from Richard, so I can't quite what that means. I'll put it to you. Hasty question for what Pete's best improvisation has Pete been part of? I guess.
Yeah, it all varies. So if I think about that, I've been an astronaut, I've been a cowboy, I've been a business owner. I think what's great is that this really pushes you outside your comfort zone. And I think that's my other key thing here is that often we forget how to learn. If you've been to university or college or you've learned things, I think we forget about pushing ourselves more. And I think that's my other key insight here is don't feel afraid to push yourself into new areas and push yourself right outside your comfort zone as you look to advance as a leader. So don't just lean on the technical side of what you need to do as a job, but lean on what you might describe as the softer skills around developing yourself as a person, as a leader too. It's equally important.
Well, this question sort of leads right on from that point. I think it's from Marianne, who asks, I've got such pressure to hit targets. How can I make sure these softer skills you mentioned are driven through your team?
Yeah, no, I relate to that. My whole job is about targets and goals. I think where I found these softer skills more important is about relationship building and working with other teams, particularly in marketing. The finance team being my next best friends or the greatest challenge I face. And actually being able to think through and solution things in the moment. And it's been particularly key through COVID-19 with all the challenges we've all faced. Being able to creatively think through ideas and scenarios has become more important than ever. So no, never forget there are still hard targets to hit, but I think the way you are able to come up and solution, particularly in really difficult situations and be creative and spontaneous, I think has been more important the last 12 weeks than ever.
From Elliot here is, how do you include your customers in this? I mean, he actually asked, You talk about listening. How do you listen to customers in terms of their perspective of everything you do as a business?
Yeah, really important. So I think we've done more listening the last 13 weeks than we've ever done over such a concentrated period. So we do a lot of social listening, and also we've done an ongoing research study using digital as well over the last few weeks. But to just show how seriously we've taken social listening, we've had 3 adverts running over the last sort of 8-9 weeks now, all of which were designed on the back of what we'd heard through social listening on the topics that mattered most to our customers. So what I didn't want to do is do a general, we're nice people, we're here to help type execution. What we wanted to say is here's specifically areas where we are absolutely responding to genuine needs and genuine insights. And certainly the tracking we're seeing is playing that exactly back to us, that we are answering, it's like we're answering questions we're being set on some channels and answering them not only in that channel, but other channels too.
Well, it's a question here from Wayne, I guess it relates exactly to that point. He asks, what do you think of brands that have reacted badly to the pandemic? I guess that means the clumsy attempts some brands have had to.
Yeah, I think that the ones I've seen struggle the most are the ones that have, excuse my French, have sort of slightly lost their shit. They've kind of, either done something that's a little bit random or something that is not in tune with what their brand or their purpose is about. The ones I've seen do really well are the ones that have a clear sense of their own DNA and what they're about. And everything they've done has amplified it, not just through communication, but they've actually done something tangible. So for us, it's been loans for businesses, repayment holidays, overdraft charge changes. And we've seen other amazing brands do work with feeding school kids, food to the homeless, food to the most vulnerable. And it's those that I think have got it in their DNA, that have lived and breathed it, that have been the most successful. The ones that have been inauthentic and has been a little below the surface are the ones that have struggled.
Amazing. Question here from Alice, a half-answer question. She says, this all sounds great, but have you got any examples of how this can lead to real-world ROI?
Yeah, I think probably actually through COVID-19 has probably been the best example. It is developing the way through what we've done as a brand has been all about ideation and creative thinking. That's not just sat with our amazing agencies, McCann and the 7 Stars, but it's actually sat with us as a business too, to help find a way through something where actually none of us entered this with a rule book. None of us entered this current crisis with a guidebook of, break emergency glass, you do exactly this. So I think that how ROI has been driven for me through this experience has been learning how to improvise in the moment has certainly helped sharpen my thinking the last 12, 13 weeks. That's certainly delivered through in our executions of what we've actually done. And we can see the benefit of that in the feedback we're getting through, the research feedback, and also the commercial performance we've seen over recent weeks has certainly followed that narrative through. The other bit I'll probably just come back to the top of where I started is I'll take ROI at a slightly different angle. Raising £30,000 for comic relief has been an amazing experience for the 10 people involved. And they've all found that it's been an amazing journey for them as well. So I think it's a business application. And then I think there's a kind of individual application of being able to take a skill that you didn't know 10 weeks ago and use it to hopefully do some good as well.
Excellent note on which to end. Pete, as always, pleasure spending time with you. Thank you so much for taking part.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.